Not quite as much fun as the jungle walk, but it'll do.
Hell yeah.
There y'all are. And the camera out of adjustment. Here we go. Let's try that. Well, how y'all are? It's your buddy George Jones over at the Bergen Gun Range with my next installment on care and maintenance of a firearm. And the firearm we're going to care and maintenance today is about 95 degrees outside. It's this guy. Now this is the Uzi semi-automatic. It's semi-automatic on a Form 1. Group Industries. Notice the green furniture. And we're going to talk about, because you can disassemble a weapon and reassemble a weapon for maintenance and education purposes. We're going to look at this guy internally for a minute. So this is a semi-automatic Uzi. It's done in such a way that a lot of I've been shooting, it's got hot. A lot of the ways that you take a fully automatic weapon and redesign it and convert it to a semi-automatic weapon, that's too hot to touch too, is using this method. So the Uzi is a bolt retained open bolt machine gun originally, by means of these sear prawls right up here in the front. Now I'm not going to take the trigger group off of it until later, and you'll be able to see how it's done. Okay, so the bolt reciprocates back and forth while the sears are depressed. Bam, 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 bam. You let go of the trigger, the sears jump up and catch the bolt in the rear position. Okay. What they've done here is they've taken it, and it's fire and semi only, removed mechanically the fully automatic mechanism from the trigger group and replaced it by this. So the bolt continues on forward and is locked into battery or sitting in battery in a blowback manner, and the firing pin is retained on the sear. The firing pin and carrier is retained on the sear. Okay? And that's basically how it works as a semi-automatic only firearm. And we're going to demonstrate that. We might as well demonstrate that a little bit. Put that guy in there like that. Right there like it goes. Bring this over here. Reassemble the bolt and carrier assembly. Reassemble the bolt and carrier assembly by putting the firing pin into the firing pin way. Reinstalling the operating spring. Okay, this part of it is called the hammer spring. Basically the hammer spring right here. And this is the operating spring. Boy, it's hot. Each hot today. This is a hot day right here. Then you got to get the two springs into the places where they go. And then pull the bolt back. Whew, it's so hot you can't touch it. Of course, we've run like 8 magazines through this thing. You know. And there it is. Just drops right back in. Make sure your top cover. Stand by. It's about 95 degrees outside. I'm sweating like the proverbial bison. Oh, everything black in the sun is hot. But that's okay. We'll apply the old cow skin to the hands. Get in there. Hands are so sweaty I can't get my gloves. Okay. Nose this little piece up in here. Comes back here on the latch. Give it a little tap, and it's back together. Okay, let's shoot a little bit. What the hell? We're here. And you'll be able to see how it operates. Or the lack of it. Okay. There we go. These are 25 round magazines, YouTube compliant. You must depress the grip safety in order to get the action to work. Now it's in battery. And watch the action as it goes. Or doesn't. I'm not real happy with this ammo. I'm not real happy with this ammo. Got some ammo from a local reloader and it ain't much. You can rip them off there pretty quick. It's one of the more fun guns I've got to shoot. You know this range, just tearing that steel silhouette target up down there at 25 yards. Let's try the old tank plate. And I think we're out. No, we're not out, we're doubled up. I ain't too happy. I'm not too happy with this ammo. It shorts a little bit. I got 2 left in there. Let's see if we can shoot them. This 115 grain. These guys like 124 grain factory ball. Is what they like. Or ammo that I've reloaded. Shit me. Again. It went in there that time. I think it's empty now. Yeah, okay. The only thing I don't like about the semi-auto Uzi is there's no bolt hold open. It doesn't hold open after the last shot and you can't lock it back. That's why when I go to a range or something with this thing, I carry a pocket full of chamber flags with me. You know, because, you know, it doesn't lock back. Well, all right. We will reconvene in the basement workshop and take a look at how you actually go about doing maintenance and cleaning on this guy. All right then, we'll see you in a minute. Okay, start over. Take 2. So as we were saying before, this little gizmo right in here is the sear mechanism that retains the firing pin, and okay, this little guy right in there. What it actually retains is this entire carrier. Okay, so you get firing pin, and it retains it on this cut right here. Pulled pork for supper. Okay, and this and this constitute the hammer. So it's retained on this in the rear position as the bolt is forward. and it rides on the bolt. Rides on the bolt like this inside the receiver. So the bolt goes fully to the rear, the bolt goes back forward, and the firing pin is retained until you pull the trigger again, and then it fires. Pretty simple mechanism. Uzis are not a real dirty gun, okay? They're pretty easy to maintain. One flaw on the Uzi is the trigger group retaining pin. That's this thing. And what happens is you scratch it all to hell is what happens. So you push in on that little tab. Well, and that comes off just like that. This little tab right here over time gets broke. So if you've got a semi-automatic Uzi or a full automatic Uzi, you need to buy you a bunch of these, because about every 10,000 rounds that little tab breaks off, that pin won't stay in place, and the gun won't stay together. The ejector, that's this piece right here. I put a bunch of these on, not on this gun because I haven't broken it yet, but shooting steel case ammunition out of an Uzi will wire this out like nobody's business. Nobody likes steel case ammunition that owns any kind of an Uzi, full or semi or SBR or whatever. But when you do break it, it's pretty easy to change. All you got to do is get you a new rivet and a new ejector, file that rivet off, drive it out of there, put your new ejector on there, put it on some kind of a dolly up here like this so you can hammer on it, heat the end of it up a little bit with a torch, and I mean like a little brazing torch, and then pound it down flat or round, and you've got it back in there. I put a few of them in. They're pretty simple to do. Barrels for semi-automatic Uzi. This once was a full automatic barrel. So what happens is you take the full automatic Uzi barrel and you turn down the bearing surface of it right here until it'll fit on to the trunnion right here, because the trunnion size of the semi-automatic Uzi and the trunnion bearing surface on the full automatic barrel are different. So you just fit this guy and it'll go together for you. Receivers, not too awful much. Hardball cleaning agents and so forth will harm your plastic furniture, so we're not going to do that much. Basically, all that's required on the receiver is to wipe it out a little bit. Get a little bit of bore cleaner on a rag on your finger, or finger, depending on what part of the country you're in. This stuff's pretty good. Good old GI bore cleaner. When you see it in the Army surplus store, just buy it. Just buy it and be done with it. You just get in there and clean around a little bit. The way the Uzi is designed, it has these grooves on the side of it that are pressed into the receiver. They're there for two reasons. One is to make the sheet metal receiver stronger. Although the sheet metal receiver on the Group Industries Uzi, semi and full, is heat treated, whereas the other Uzis that you see that are manufactured by different organizations, including IMI, are they're not heat treated, they're just mild steel. So that's why they put these grooves, press these in there. It makes the weapon stronger this way. The other thing is they collect grit and sand and dirt and allow the gun to continue to operate normally. And very little maintenance is required in the receiver. I've shot them tens of thousands of rounds out of an Uzi in one day, or worked on ranges where they were being fired a lot. And, you know, the bolt gets dirty and the barrel gets dirty, but, and the feedway gets dirty. But the receiver itself doesn't get very dirty at all. Probably doesn't require much maintenance at all. You get in there and you wipe on that thing and it's pretty clean. You know, not a bad gig. Trigger group, we shot this thing 600 rounds today through it, and it's just not very dirty at all. You know, it's just not very dirty at all. It seems to get dirty right down the mag well, you know, but the group itself doesn't seem to pick up much dirt. You know, so a general wiping out with an oily rag. Now, these parts do need to be lubricated, springs and springways and so forth. You know, so we put a little lubrication on them if they look dry. Like that. That looks pretty good. A little bit back here on your grip safety way. Right, not too much, don't flood it out too bad. You know, stick you a little bit back in there. You know, and that's pretty much it. Now, in about 6 months, this thing will be stripped completely down and put in an ultrasonic cleaner. Bolt. Each guy gets kind of grubby. This is a grubby part. It gets pretty dirty. So we work on it pretty good. This part gets pretty grubby. I work on it pretty hard. You know. We work on it pretty hard. Good old GI boil cleaner. I mean, this stuff is like $1 a can if you find it for sale. If I find it in gallon cans, I'll buy it. Back in the CCDW days when it was a hot number and I was shooting guns every weekend, people were shooting my guns every weekend, and I was teaching people how to clean guns every weekend. You know, I was going through it by the gallon. But now we have constitutional carry in the state of Kentucky, it's not such a big deal. Put over the old garbage can and get my favorite brake parts cleaner. Let's give it a light going over with the old brake parts cleaner. Don't get this stuff in your eyes or you're going to be in big trouble. You know, so I'm wearing safety readers. And get your clean part of the rag and wipe it off. And it's nice and clean. Now, I haven't had to put an extractor in this gun yet, and I've had it about 10 years. Earlier in this video, you saw some extraction problems and a few feeding problems, which is abnormal for this gun. I attribute it to some questionable reloaded ammunition that I had purchased, and the gun being kind of filthy. The old Thompson cleaning rod, you can't beat it with a stick on sub guns. Over here, so I don't get it all over everything. Kind of off camera here, but you see one of these things at the Army Surplus store, which is the Thompson / grease gun cleaning rod. You know, it takes standard tips, you know, and it's just a fantastic. It's not too long, it's not too short for cleaning sub guns and short fire rifles. And it's got a little head on the end of it. It's kind of like a patch jag. You can find a patch to jag. You can find a patch to jag. There we go. You can just put it over the end of it. And come up there and push it through. I think that might be too big. Oh well, we've always got something we can use. Oh, kind of like a mad scientist down here in the basement trying to. We can work it out right here. Worked good on Tommy gun, but it don't work good on this. All right. Yeah, there we go. That's a lot better. Matter of fact, I think I put 2 through it. My personal policy is not to clean them until they quit working right. People, they have a aversion to that kind of thinking. And I tell you the truth, when you shoot a lot of guns, you know, you're cleaning all the time. Back when we had a thing called the Knob Creek machine gun shoot, we used to have a thing called jungle walk. And, you know, we'd shoot 10,000 rounds of 9mm in a weekend through Uzis. And man, it didn't take long. I was cleaning constantly cleaning guns. You know, constantly cleaning Uzis, and Model 76 Smiths. You know. All right, the old top cover. Top cover stays pretty clean on these things. They don't get dirty at all, hardly. You know, they just a little cursory wiping. Boy, it was hot today. All right. Since assembly and disassembly on YouTube is legal for maintenance purposes, not adding anything to the gun or taking anything away from the gun, and you didn't get to see me take it apart because the camera went stupid, let's put it together. Okay, first things first. The trigger group goes in that little slot right there, corresponds to that little tongue right there. Put that guy in there, put it on there. Put it on there, I can get it to go. There it is. Now, the old cursed pin, okay, I think the old cursed pin goes in either way. Let's see if the cursed pin will go in. Yes, the cursed pin. Come on, the accursed pin. There it is, and it didn't break the tab off, so we're good there. Now, I tend to put the barrel on after I put the bolt assembly in it. So what you do is, here's your op spring. Now there's a hole in this bushing back here that corresponds to the op spring, and then there's another hole that corresponds to this guy. Okay, so they've all got to go in there just exactly right. So you put your op spring in, and it doesn't matter which end it goes in. Then you line your firing pin up. Line the firing pin up with the back of the bolt face. That goes in there like that. Okay. Now, holding the assembly in place like it's supposed to be, make sure that the buffer spring and the op spring go in right, push it back, and it just drops in there in a funny sort of way. All right, the next thing is to install the barrel. So the barrel has this cut on it and retainer band with a cut on it, which corresponds to this guy here. So you always get the barrel in right. You can't help but put it in there correctly. Next, the barrel retainer nut, it goes on till it starts to engage the little ratchet keeper. Okay, so what I do is I pull the keeper back, tighten it up, and that saves you your ratchets and your keeper. So don't wear them out, because parts for these things, they cost. Okay, like building an M1, they cost money. They're not kidding around when you go buy an Uzi part. And there it is, all back together. Standard function check. Pull it back. Snaps. Pull it back on the trigger pull. Let go of the trigger. Your pure retain. Snaps. It's ready to go. And that's basic cleaning, maintenance, disassembly, and assembly of the Uzi semi-automatic carbine. This one's a nice one. It's a Group Industries, and originally Group Industries came out with green furniture, and this one's got green furniture on it. It had black furniture on it when I got it, but somebody had sold the green furniture off of it because the green furniture is worth a couple of $300 because it's very rare. So the founder of Group Industries is a personal friend of mine, and he had several sets of them at the house, and suddenly I was in possession of a set. And they say Group Industries on the inside of them, so you know they say group on both sides. This one says group right and left, this one says group right and left, you know, like that. So the only thing I've got against the Uzi as a firearm in general or semi-automatic carbine is it's heavy. It weighs as much as an M1 rifle. but it's all steel and it's all real, buddy. All right then, that's about the size of it for the old second Uzi video. Y'all like to take surefire, commentate, some scribble. I'll turn that camera off and get upstairs and get to edit and see if I can't make it a video. God bless America and join the NRA. We'll see y'all.